And started. Okay, thank you. Hi everyone, thank you for joining this class. I'm going to go over the assignments and that we did yesterday on Wednesday, and I'll make some comments on some of the questions that were asked. So please pay attention. Feel free to ask any questions if I'm moving too quickly or anything like that. All right. All right.
David, can you please speak up? You are using your bedroom voice.
Oh, okay. You can't hear me clearly. What mic am I using? External mic. Okay. What's happening? Okay, should be clearer now. Okay, let me know if it's clearer than before. Is it?
Continue. Let's see you speak more.
Okay.
Continue.
All right, all right. So I'm going to go over the assignments, and I think this will be your first lesson in learning how to duplicate a design. Okay. One of the easiest ways to learn how to duplicate is by taking a screenshot and just working with the screenshots. It's really that simple. All right. So let's assume I want to duplicate this design that I did. All right. So instead of duplicating the page, I'm just going to create a new page. All right. So now I'm going to take a screenshot of this page. However you take screenshots on your devices, this is how I take mine. All right. So now I'm going to paste it in my document. Okay. So right now this is an image. Okay. Don't get confused at any point. This is an image. All right. So for me to show it an image, I'm going to reduce the transparency. Okay. So that when I'm designing over it, I can see what I'm designing. All right. Is that clear? So first, I'm going to draw the underlay, which is the blue rectangle. Okay. So I'll click on square, move it around, reduce the height, and increase the length. Okay. Next, I'm going to go to text. And I saw some assignments where some people did this alone as opposed to the whole page. So I expected everyone to do the whole page. All right. I think I didn't communicate that, and I apologize for that. Okay. So add a heading. I'm going to write contrast. Okay. And then now I need to figure out the exact size of this. Okay. So that's why I'm moving it over it. And the font I used is called Horizon. Okay, it's the font I've used for most of the assignments, and it's the font I'll keep using in most of the assignments. So save yourself the stress. All right. So now I want to ensure it's the same size with this. What I just need to do is I'll make sure it's on the edge on this side, and then I'll start to reduce it. Instead, you see it's reducing because it's in center alignment. So I'm going to move it to left alignment. Okay. And then I'll reduce until it's this exact same size or something very close. Okay. So good, very close. All right. So what's the color of this text? White, white. Color of the underlay is blue. Okay. So I'm just going to click blue, or go to your color palette and figure out where color blue is. All right. So I'm just going to put this under it. Now, obviously this is not aligned. So I'm just going to move this. Can you see this pink line that showed up here? It means that this box is in the center of this box. This box is now aligned to this. Okay, that's why you can see the dashed line that showed up. If I bring it down, it doesn't show again. If I bring it up to the middle, it shows. If I raise it above the middle, it doesn't show again. But you can see the one in the middle is showing that it's center aligned. If I maintain that center and I bring it down, you see it's going to show that it's both center aligned and middle aligned. All right, which is very important. So I'm just going to keep my box there. All right. Next, is that clear so far? Is there any confusion as to how this happened?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, thank you. So next is my body copy, right? So I'm just going to click, and because I don't have time, I'm just going to copy the text. All right. So I'm going to type it in here. Okay, so I'm going to increase the size. As you increase the size, you will notice that it's just adjusting on its own. All right, so everything here is aligned to the left. So I'm just going to drag this to the left. And then reduce the size to ensure it's very similar to what we have here. Okay, good. The font I use here is called Inter, I-N-T-E-R. So Inter. Now, for me to make it exactly like this, I need to just increase the font size just a little. Okay, now it's almost perfect. Okay, so yeah, there we have it. All right, if I didn't use Inter, I could have used any other sans fonts. I'll explain what the sans font is doing in this class. Okay, and then now I need to do my rectangles. All right, now if you notice, everything here is aligned. You can see the alignment very, very sharp. Okay, some assignments didn't have the alignment sharp, which is a very big problem. All right, so next thing is the square. Okay, and like I said, what I did was, by the way, let me just copy all of this and start from the beginning so you know which create new design. I used Instagram posts. Okay, Instagram post is going to give you the format of a square, which is the format I've used for all the assignments I've given so far. Okay, which is not, I'm not saying that's the format I'm going to use for every assignment, but all the assignments I've given so far, I've always used the square. All right, which is Instagram post. Once you click Instagram post, it's going to open up in a square canvas. All right, which is where we are working on currently. Okay, so next I want to create my rectangles. Click rectangles, which is, so as you move up and down, it remains a rectangle because you are not moving it left or right. Okay, so I'm just going to retain this. Now I want to duplicate this across and this way. All right, so first thing, I can either, I'll click on this and press Alt and move. And while I'm moving, I'm looking for this line. If I don't want to look for the line, I just press Shift and it's automatically aligned. All right, so don't forget, I press Alt, which is for duplication, and Shift, which is for keeping it on the same line. Okay. Ihilesen, is your question answered?
Yes, yes, it is.
Okay, good. So now I'm just going to select both of them and then duplicate them again, maintaining the size that was here before. So you know what, let me just go through it so I can watch the size. What's the size? Let's see, let's use 60. Okay, right, so I'm just going to select both of them. I press Shift to select them, or you might as well click and drag. Okay, but if you want to select, if you check the shortcuts I sent you, if you want to select, you press Shift, select, and they will both select. Okay, so duplicate by pressing Option, and then I'm pressing down this. So here we have 60. Okay, and then one more, or Option and Shift, and then click, Option, Shift, then drag. 60. Okay, so now I'm going to duplicate every single thing downwards. Okay, so I've clicked on the box right now. I'm pressing my Option and Shift, and then I'm dragging. Okay, what we have here is, let's say 38, let's use 40. Okay, and then I do the same thing again, and I have 40 in between. Sorry, let me zoom in to get 40. Okay, because it matters that you get the exact dimension, right? So I saw some people's work where the alignment wasn't sharp, so this is your biggest problem. Okay, learn to use your Shift key to keep your shapes in alignment. Okay, now what's the basic thing? I'll just rotate this. Okay, it's duplicated. I'll rotate this. Okay, and expand it in size and change the color. Okay, so now I can delete this because I have all my squares. All right, So I can just select everything, change the color to yellow, and then change the color of the one in the middle to blue, and the assignment is done. Is there anything that is not clear? Yeah? Anybody, can someone answer? Is there anything that's not clear?
It's clear.
All right, thank you, Comfort. All right, so I'm just going to
I
move.
still cannot get how you are using those keys.
Okay, so
To
what I'm doing,
duplicate, do all those things you were doing.
okay, so what I did to duplicate is once you, sorry, I might keep messing up. Okay, so what I did was once you, okay, let me duplicate this. Okay, if I'm trying to duplicate this square, right, this rectangle, what I need to do, I'm going to click
I
on
will
it.
suggest you move on. I will suggest you move on to the next assignment. Still, since you are going to do the same thing also.
Oh, okay, no, I just wanted to do that for, I just wanted to do one in case, just to go over it. The others are pretty much the exact same thing. So for this, okay, let me just go over, do this, right? For this, I simply imported the circle, click and drop, right? And then to duplicate it, right? Once you select the circle and once you select the circle, you keep your mouse pressed on, you keep your hand pressed on your mouse, all right? You click on Alt, you click on Shift, then you drag. Did you get that? Then once you get to where you want, you release your mouse and it's done. Was that clear? Yeah? Was that clear enough?
Can this be done without a mouse, like with the laptop that key there?
Yes,
Without a
yes,
mouse?
yes. Yes, you can do it without the mouse. You can use the key on your laptop. It's because I'm using a mouse, that's why I said it. So if you're not using your mouse, you just use your
Okay.
key tracker to click. And then once you release, once you click and you keep your hand clicked, you press Alt and Shift, then drag, and then release, and it's going to be duplicated. All right, so yeah, that's pretty much the exact same thing for this. What I did is import the rectangle, right, reduce the height, and then add text on top of it, duplicate the same way, and then duplicate all of them, and then duplicate the last set, and just move on out. Pretty simple, okay? Because of time, I'm going to move on to the design terms you're supposed to learn. This class is going to spread across 2 classes, so it's a lot. All right, so I think this is fine. Is it still unclear in any way?
No, it's clear.
All right,
It's
thank
clear.
you. So I'm just going to
Clear.
go over to what I'm supposed to share for today, which is design terms. All right. Now, 50 design terms explained simply for non-designers. Right. Now, I'm using this to help you understand the concepts. But because you are going to be more familiar with using the terms, I need you to pay attention to how they are used and understand what they mean. Okay. Because for example, you heard me say something like body copy, header, all those kind of things. Those are design terminologies that designers use among themselves. And, it's just a it helps you with creating communication, and especially when you want to get feedback. If I say something like, so your body copy is too small, you know what I'm talking about, or increase the alignment, or no, not increase the alignment, increase the kerning or kerning your text or something like that. You understand what I'm saying? All right. So first, typography. Basically, typography is huge, right? And it's basically the artistic arrangement of text or type in a readable and visually appealing way. So what we are doing with the assignments that I gave you, for example, where we had contrast and all of that, right? That is typography in action, okay? Basically arranging text or type in a readable and visually appealing way, okay? And it usually concerns design and use of various typefaces in a way that helps to better communicate ideas. So when you use your text in a way that is that you can be intentional about creating emphasis, creating hierarchy, and doing all of those things, that's basically what typography is all about. So it's a large umbrella. There are different things that are involved in typography, but it's basically the artistic arrangements in short, okay? So I'm going to explain all these, let me explain all these different areas, okay? Now, you see where you have different types of texts, okay? Different areas like body parts of a type of type, all right? Now, look closely. You see, from up here, this height is called a cap height. And it will make sense to you because it's literally the height of your text in caps lock. So when you have, if you have your text in caps, that's like the highest point of your text in caps is your cap height, okay? I hope that helps you understand what cap height is, all right? Then the median is the height, is the highest point of your X height. So your X height is basically, you know, let me explain to you this way. How many of you did 2D drawing in school? 2D writing, sorry, not 2D drawing. Yeah, that writing book, okay? Typically, a writing book will be divided into 4 lines, all right? That's, and these are the 4 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what you have, this height from the second to the third line, in whichever way you're going, ascending or descending, that height is called your X height, okay? Now, the lowest point of your caps or the lowest point of your X height is called a baseline. So typically when you're writing, that's where your texts would normally rest on, okay? So that's called your baseline, all right? So all your texts is usually resting on your baseline. The height of your X height is called the median, okay? The highest point of your X height is called the median, and the highest point of your caps text or font or type is called a cap height, all right? Now, this thing, when you have for your type, okay, this thing that goes up like this is called a stem. Imagine this was a tree, okay, and then this is arm. So imagine that I said, allow this white text to go into the arm of your T. So what I mean is move your Y to stay under here, which is the arm, okay? Now, I'll explain what a serif is. And of course, that's how we got the name serif, which is the name of this class, okay? Thanks to borrow my wife. Now, serif is this bit here. This thing is called a serif. It's also here, it's called a serif. This is a serif. This is a serif. This is a serif, okay? So a serif is like, I'm going to explain what a serif is. It's another term that I'm still going to have to explain, but just to give you a brief summary, it's basically that extra addition to a regular stem. Okay, so for example, this T would have been fine if we just cut it out here. So this extra thing that's here is called your serif. Okay, so remember that. All right, now this is your bowl, and your bowl occurs majorly where you have round text. Okay, and then here you have an ear, I mean, it's also not typical, majorly for fonts like G, in some particular types of fonts. Okay. Then here you have your terminal. This is called your terminal. It comes out of the stem when it's not an arm. Okay. And then here you have your ascender. So your ascender is just starting from your median height to your cap height. Okay. And then you have your descender, which is from your baseline to the lowest point. All right. So here is also called a loop. Obviously, you know, this is also a bow, and this is a bow. Okay. And then here we have a tail, and this is a descender. All right. Is there any part of parts of the typography text font that I explained that is difficult to understand or difficult to comprehend? Any? Okay, I'll take that as none. All right. So there we have what is called body copy. All right. Now, your body copy is the main part of your text in your design or publication. So it's basically the, for example, if you did projects, right, or in a book, right, the part where you read is the body copy. Okay. That's literally what is called your body copy. All right. So it's basically the reading part of your text. So for example, this will be a subheader, and this will be your body copy, and then this will be your main header or your header. Okay, do you understand? So the beginning, the header is usually the biggest, right? Then the subheader is usually smaller, and then the body copy is the smallest. Let me show you something here on Canva, show you how intuitive Canva is. When you come to text, okay, you see, add a heading. When you click on add a heading, right, look at the size of the font compared to add a subheading. Look at the size of the font compared to add a little bit of body text, and then look at the size of the font. So you see how intuitive Canva is. Canva is helping you with a lot of the sizing ratio, okay, between the different texts. All right. So let me go back to what I was explaining. Okay. So this is your body copy. All right. Now, display type is type or text that's designed with the objective of attracting attention. So many movie titles on posters, articles in magazines, newspaper headlines, they have a display type. All right. So we're going to do some designs that use display type. Okay. So obviously what you have here, where literally the whole design is created with a display type. All right. So display type is when you actually design with the objective of attracting attention with your text. And most times they are usually big and bold, and they usually cover a huge part of the page. Sometimes they don't. So it's not necessary that once you have display type, you must cover everywhere. But it's usually like designed with the objective of attracting attention to the text itself. Okay. Then hierarchy. So I'll explain hierarchy already. Okay. And it's basically the visual arrangement of design elements in a way that signifies importance. So I explained it when I was designing the business card earlier in the first class. Okay. It signifies importance. This is the most important. This is next important. This is the least important. All right. Now, let me show you what that looks like on Canva. Okay. So let's go over to some templates and see maybe see all. Okay, no, let's not do recently used. Let's do social media. All right. Now look at this design. Okay, you see hierarchy is letting you you see that this text is bigger than this, right? And that's the purpose of hierarchy. Hierarchy is letting you know that this is the most important thing. This is what I want you to see first. If you come to this design, what is number one in the hierarchy of texts? Anybody can answer.
Add a heading.
Add a heading, right?
Add a-
Great. If you look at this, what's number one in hierarchy of text?
Add a heading.
Add a heading again, right? Here, number one in hierarchy of text is always add a heading, all right? So
We are
basically, exactly, thank you. So basically, hierarchy is levels of importance, okay?
right. Add a heading.
Yeah, add a heading. Okay, so if you look here, you see the same thing. Level 1, level 2, level 3, heading, subheading, and body copy. Okay, just like I explained. Many times you see this very obviously in publication designs. Okay, and it goes beyond publication designs. I just showed you some social media designs where they actually made use of hierarchy. So in every form of visual communication, there's hierarchy. Sometimes it might just be level 1 and level 3. It might be level 1 and level 2 without level 3. It might just be level 1. So when you have only level 1 as your design, you know that that's where you have display type. Okay, is it making sense now?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, kerning, right? Now, kerning is basically adjusting space between two characters in your text or your type. All right, so it's a common design term and usually aims to achieve a more proportional and pleasing balance of space between each character. So let me show you how kerning works. Imagine that I was designing something, okay? Let's say many times the word kerning can also be used as a verb. So if I say something like kern your text, I mean arrange the text, okay? So let's say this design is called welcome, all right? Okay, now this is the text, welcome, all right? Most times we usually kern when we are using sans serif fonts, and I'm going to explain what sans serif fonts are later, but let me just go over to my fonts and type sans serif. Sorry, when we are using serif fonts, most times when we use sans serif fonts don't usually need a lot of that because they are usually almost evenly spaced. Okay, so when you see this now, right, compared to maybe Noto serif is even nicer. Let's see a different one. Let me use a sans serif font. Okay, now one thing you notice very easily is that it feels like there's more space between W and E in this design. It looks kind of uneven compared to this and compared to this, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Right.
So kerning is basically saying, you know what, I'm going to adjust this because it's obviously not visually pleasing to the eyes. So what I'm going to do is what I'm doing right now is I'm going to duplicate this, okay, by pressing Alt and Shift on Mac or Shift, Alt and Shift on Windows or Option and Shift on Mac, all right? So now I have my W, I've written it separately, okay? So I'm going to move it closer. All right. Maybe not too close, but just a little closer. Closer than it would have normally been. All right. So let me show you the difference between the kerned and the unkerned text. Okay. Can you see the difference?
Yes.
Exactly. So I drew this closer. to the E to make it more visually accurate. All right. So that's typically or basically what kerning is about. Okay. So look at this design. Without kerning, the space looks too much in between. All right. But now they've kerned it, they brought the W closer, they brought the A closer. Okay. If I did it with the exact same fonts here, you would see it really clearly because W, A, and V are very, very funny fonts when they're in serif formats. Okay, can you see it now? You can see how uneven it is. And it's just because, exactly. So, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, this is just usually how they come because of the length of the stem. Okay. So you will just have to adjust it yourself. That's basically what kerning is about. Okay. So I'm going to move on to the next one. All right.
Sorry, I have a question.
Okay.
So, what about if you wanted to increase the space between the characters? Is that still kerning?
Yes.
Like if there was a situation where you wanted to increase the space, okay.
Okay. No. So that's leading. Or leading, actually. That's the pronunciation. So let me explain it. So leading refers to the space in between lines of text. Okay. So when you tighten it, so let me show you, right? The difference between kerning and leading. All right. On Canva. Okay. So when you want to reduce the space in between them, when you do it uniformly, so here, look here. Here it's called line spacing, okay, or letter spacing. So when you reduce the letter spacing uniformly, you are increasing the leading or reducing the leading, okay? But when you manually adjust one part of the text, that's kerning. Do you see the difference?
Yes.
Exactly. So leading is different from kerning. Kerning is usually maybe one or two fonts that you're trying to just adjust manually, but leading is more generic or more automatic. So it's literally increasing everything at the same time, either the line spacing, letter spacing, or the line spacing. Okay. So basically trying to find a balance. All right. Now tracking. So tracking concerns the space between the letters. When we track the space, right, we're adjusting the body of text. Okay, so I mixed them up. Sorry about that. So what I was explaining with leading is actually tracking. Okay, but tracking is for the letter spacing, all right, and leading is for line spacing. Okay, so there are two differences. So what you have here on Canva, as what you have here on Canva as letter spacing is actually tracking, all right, in more technical terms. And what you have as line spacing here is actually leading, okay, in technical terms, all right. So that's basically it. Sorry, there was I mixed it up earlier. Okay, so
No problem.
All right, thank you. So your X height, I explained what your X height is earlier, right? It's the average height of your lowercase letters, okay? And it gets its name obviously from the letter X. In literally any fonts, the letter X determines the height of your X height, okay? So Your ascender, which I already explained also, is the lower. You see this thing here, right? It's a part of a lowercase letter that extends above the X height. All right, so like B, D, F, G, H, K, L, right? Once it crosses the line of the X height, it's an ascender, okay? And obviously, they're usually for lowercase letters, all right? Then your descenders are the lower part, parts of your lowercase letters that extend below the X height. So like your G, like your J, like your P, like your Q, like your Y, okay? And then now we have orphans and widows, all right? Now, orphans and widows is a design term that's used to refer to words or short lines that appear by themselves at the top or bottom of the column of type, okay? So when you are going over your design, I'll show you what that looks like in practice. So look here, right? Where you have body text, all right? Okay. And let's assume that we're left aligning everything, okay? So when you have something like this, right? That's what we're referring to when we're talking about widows and orphans, all right? So all these kind of things, when you're designing, most times this will occur when you're designing layouts, all right? Widows have no husbands, orphans have no parents, okay? So this is an orphan and this is a widow, okay? So a widow is usually like part of, when it starts on a new paragraph, then it's an orphan, but when it ends, when it's like literally on the same page, but it's just one single thing that's alone, it's a widow, okay? It doesn't have a pairing, all right? So when you're designing, ensure that your body copy doesn't have a lot of this. So many times it will require manually adjusting or typing enter or increasing font size, whatever the case may be, just to ensure that you have no widows or orphans, okay? Do you understand widows or orphans?
Yes, I do.
Okay, okay.
Yes, we do.
Thank you. All right, so a serif typeface is a typeface with a small decorative stroke that is called a serif, all right? And it's found at the end of horizontal and vertical lines. So they usually look more professional, authoritative, and traditional in their appearances. So let me show you what that looks like on Canva. When you're trying to design text, design anything, all right? And Canva is very intuitive. Once you say, you know what, I want a serif font, and you come to search for fonts here and you type serif, all right? It's going to show you all the serif fonts that you have, okay? And then you can just click on any of them, all right? One of my favorite serif fonts is, the name is skipping my mind, but I'm sure I'm going to find it here. Okay, I can't find it, but anyways, so let's say Noto serif, all right? Now, what is the actual serif here? In case you didn't say it clearly then. Okay, so you see this bit here, this extra thing that they added, this thing, they could have just cut it here like this, right? They could have just cut it here, but having that extra thing is what makes it. So that thing is called the serif, all right? Compared to this. Can you see this? Okay, so this has no serif. That's why it's called sans serif. Sans serif means no serif. Okay, so let me go over. Let me know if you understand what the serif means. Okay, so A sans serif is a typeface that doesn't have the decorative serif stroke. All right, so they usually look more modern, stylish, and they look cleaner than their serif counterparts. All right. Now, a script typeface is a typeface that mimics cursive handwriting, basically. So when you see script typefaces, they look, elegant, personal, more casual, depending on how you embellish them. All right, so they're more personalized types of fonts. Okay. Now, a slab serif typeface is like the elder brother of serif. Okay, except this time it's a slab serif instead of no serif. So this thing that looks tiny here, in a slab serif, you see that it's really huge. So the serif is very thick. That's what makes it slab serif. And I'm sure the word slab is gotten from slab, where we have concrete, a mass of concrete. Okay, so a slab serif is where you have a typeface with thicker, blockier serifs, very commonly used in headlines, titles, but you hardly use it in body copy because it will be very hard to read. Okay. All right. So legibility. Now, legibility is pretty easy to understand. It's basically the measure of how easy it is to distinguish one letter from the next. All right. So it has a lot to do with your choice of typeface and how you use it. So most times, if you're typing in body copy, you most likely use maybe a simple serif or sans serif typeface. Okay. But definitely not a script font or a cursive handwriting. Okay, because it's more difficult to read. Maybe you can use this when you have like 2-3 words alone, maybe as a header or in a special type of way. But as a body copy, you won't use this simply because it's not going to be legible. All right, and you want to ensure that whoever is reading your work can read very clearly. All right. Alignment is basically the lineup of elements to achieve balanced order or a more logical layout. I explained this in details in the first class already. So there are 4 major types: left, right, center, or justify. All right. Now, you see, this is called a pull quote. I'm sure you've seen this in many magazines, newspapers, articles, stuff like that. A pull quote is basically just a short excerpt that's pulled from the main text and used as a visual element to help highlight important ideas or maybe draw some attention to whatever is being written. Okay, so they are mostly magazine designs. You just see maybe the sun. You just say, I cannot do without eating 5 times a day, right? And they just called it out of what the person had written. And it's just something to pull you in, right? So it's literally why they call it pull quotes, all right? Or maybe because they pull it out of the main text. I don't know, whichever one it is, but it's a pull quote either ways, all right? Yeah, a palette. A palette is basically a selection of colors that you choose for your design. So when you are working on any design at all, right? I'm going to talk more about palettes when we get to colors, all right? It's basically a selection of colors. So for this design, right, or for this image, look at the palette. And they derive the palette from the image, all right? Now, there's something that Canva does, and it's quite intuitive, okay? Once you import an image, all right, it literally creates a palette out of the image that you've imported. Yeah, so you can see this image, it created a palette for us. So let me try to import another image and we can see if that's true or not. Let me import this. This is really colorful. All right. So let's see if Canva has created a palette for us. All right. So you can see the palette very easily. Okay. So the green, this green, yellow, this color probably from our skin, and this majorly from the background. All right. But basically, Canva helps you to create a color palette from any image that you import into your design. All right. So feel free to do that when you're working with your design.
See your Canva screen.
You didn't see my.
We're still at.
Oh,
still at the terminologies page.
Sorry. Oh my. Okay. So basically, what I was explaining is once you open Canva, right, and you click on anything, and you click on color, you see that Canva creates a color scheme from your image. All right. So this image, for example, you can see the color scheme here, right? Let's add another image and see if they will generate a color scheme. So let's use this image, for example, right? Let's go to our background. So you see it has developed a color scheme from this image already. Okay. So Canva can help you generate a color scheme, or imagine that it was any other image at all. Okay, so let's say it was this image, right? Canva is still going to generate a color scheme from this image for you. So that's how it works. All right. All right. Monochrome. So I'm still going to go in details into explaining how color works. But just so you have a good idea before I actually get into it. The color scheme that is built out of only one color. All right. Either you are making it dark or you're making it bright. So when you make a color dark, you are tinting it. Sorry, when you make a color dark, you are shading it. When you make a color bright, you are tinting it. All right. So let's see how Canva helps with this. Oh, okay, sorry. Where's Canva? All right, so how can you tint and shade on Canva? All right, so once, let's say you have this color, okay, and you want to do a monochromatic design, duplicate, duplicate, and then further duplicate. All right, so we have 6 rectangles now. All right, now this is the color. So I'm just going to go to here, yeah, this is the color. So I'm just going to come here and select the same color. I'll move up a little, okay, right? Now I'm going to make everything this new color, okay? Then I'm going to click on this, adjust from here, increase it a little more. All right, see, I'm going towards the white, okay? And I'm avoiding this place because this is dark. All right, I'm moving towards the white. All right, and then I'm going to make everything the new color as well. No, not that, not that, this, okay? And then I'm coming here again. I'm going to do the exact same thing. This time I'm going upwards, okay? So you can see it's increasing in brightness, all right? So that's what is called tinting a color, all right? If you want to make it darker, you obviously go in the opposite direction, which is towards black, all right? So imagine I wanted to tint this color. I'll just come here and then move downwards, okay? And it's much darker than it was. So basically, that's how to do that on Canva. But the concept of monochrome is, you know, a single color, okay? Increasing in intensity, either getting darker or getting brighter, basically, all right? So in your designs, there are designs you can use. Let me go on Google and just see if you can find monochrome designs, all right? So, okay. So, I mean, you can tell that this design is monochromatic because there's no other color except from green and white. Well, green down to white. So here is maybe the regular green. Here is a brighter and then a brighter shade, but here we can see a darker shade. And this is also darker than this shade. All right, so that's literally how what monochromatic design is called, okay? Basically using the same color in different shades, all right? So you can see here too, this is, they use color blue, but it's monochromatic, it's just one color, all right? So let me go back to my slides, okay? All right, analogous, right? A color scheme that is built out of 3 colors that are next to each other on the color wheel, all right? So I'm going to explain the color wheel in detail in the next class, all right? Now, this is a color wheel, okay? And a color wheel basically has primary, secondary, tertiary colors, okay? So what are the primary colors? There are 3 primary colors, red, blue, and yellow, okay? How did the primary colors come to being? I really can't see, but they are the primary colors. All right. So we have blue, we have red, and we have yellow. Okay. So if you notice where they are, they are kind of like creating a triangle. I think I was out for a bit. Let me know if you can hear me.
I
Can
can
hear
hear
you
you.
now.
Can you hear me? And see me? Hello? Can everyone hear me and see me? Hello? Okay, can everyone hear me and see me?
I
Yes.
can hear you.
Comfort, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, okay, so you can hear me. Oh, okay, okay. I was wondering. Okay, so I'm just going to
Yes, I
continue.
am.
Okay, okay, thank you.
We can hear you.
Okay, okay. So you can still see my screen? Okay, all right. So yes, I was explaining analogous colors, right?
No, we
And I
can't
was,
see your screen.
okay, can you see it now?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, all right. So basically, analogous, okay, so I have to explain primary and then secondary colors, all right? So primary colors are red, blue, and yellow, all right? I'm going to go into more details in the next class, all right? And then secondary colors are basically a mixture of two primary colors. So how does that work? So yellow is a primary color, red is a primary color. When you mix red and yellow, you have orange. So you see orange right here. Okay, somewhere in the middle of red and yellow. All right. Now, same thing goes for green. Okay, so we have green. So we have blue. Red, yellow, and then blue. All right. So we have blue and yellow mixed to become green. All right. And then we have blue and red. So we have blue and yellow mixed to become green. Okay. Then we have blue and red mixed to become violet or purple. Okay. So if you see these two colors, these colors that are a mixture of primary colors are called secondary colors. All right. So we have orange, violet, and green. Those are the three secondary colors because they are a mixture of two primary colors. So blue and yellow gives green. Green is a secondary color. Blue and red gives violet. Violet is a secondary color. Blue and yellow gives orange. Orange is a secondary color. All right. Now, analogous colors. Okay, so what we have here on the color, I'm still going to explain these ones to you, right? These are tertiary colors. And tertiary colors are basically a mixture of a primary and a secondary color to give you a tertiary color. So we have, so primary is this triangle, okay? Well, no, blue like this, all right? Then secondary is these ones, 1, 2, and 3, which are obviously in another triangle. And then tertiary colors are a mixture of red and orange will give you reddish orange. Orange and yellow will give us yellowish orange or orangish yellow, right? So that's how we have tertiary colors. All right. So now analogous colors are colors that lie side by side on the color wheel. Okay, so the way we have these three colors are analogous colors, and they always work together beautifully in almost every design. All right, so you have, if you don't want to pick these three, you can pick this 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3. Right, so you see they always have some beautiful relationship. It's kind of like a subtle attempt at being colorful while still being monochromatic, because they are around a safe hue. All right. So that's what analogous colors are. All right. Now, complementary colors are basically a color scheme that is built out of two colors that are opposite each other on the color wheel. So here we have blue and orange. All right. Here we have red and green. They are complementary, and I'm sure that reminds you so much of Christmas. Okay. Here we have violet and yellow. Okay. So that's how complementary colors work. They are opposite each other on the color wheel. Okay, so this is blue and yellow. This is literally bluish, bluish violet and yellowish red. Okay, yellowish orange, sorry, or orangish yellow. All right, opposite each other. But here we have primary colors as per, well, a secondary color will always be opposite a primary color. So it will be blue and green, red and green, then blue and orange, then violet and yellow. Yellow is the primary color, violet is the secondary color. Green is the secondary color, red is the primary color. Then blue is the primary color, orange is the secondary color, because it's a mixture of red and yellow. Okay, let me know if you understood analogous and complementary colors based on how I explained them.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So a triadic color, thank you. A triadic color is basically a color scheme built out of three colors equally spaced on the color wheel. So the way you have, these are the primary colors. So typically, right, when you say a triad is three colors opposite each other equidistantly on the color wheel, kind of like, imagine Mercedes on the color wheel, exactly. Okay, that's what the color wheel is. That's what a triad is. So it could have been 1, 2, and 3. It could have been 1, 2, and 3, right? So that's a triad, all right? And you can bet that they are from 3 different ends of the color wheel. So it's going to be a heavy color mixture, okay? Now, CMYK, or cyan, magenta, yellow, and key. K is key. K is also black, all right? It's a color model that is used for printing purposes, all right? So I'm going to explain the different ways CMYK and RGB work from each other, right? So, and CMYK is subtractive. What does that mean? That means that we must begin with white and end up with black. So as we add more color, sorry about that. As we add more color, the result becomes darker. So as we add white, now if you notice here, the middle is black. So after mixing yellow, if you now add magenta, and then you add cyan, it's going to be black. Okay, if you mixed only yellow and cyan, you have green, or cyan and yellow, you have red, or magenta and cyan, you have kind of like purple. So this is kind of like almost like a color wheel-ish, except this is in red. Okay, so this is what CMYK looks like, right? And when you are designing for print, because printers use a different system from screens, okay? So because printers print in pigment form, screens display color in light form, right? So that's why it's called RGB. RGB is red, green, and blue. Printers print in CMYK. CMYK is cyan, magenta, yellow, and key or black, all right? Now this will be useful for you when you're designing for print or for screen, based on what purpose it might be designing for. All right, so this is RGB. RGB is red, green, and blue, right? It's a color model used for on-screen purposes, basically. So it's an additive color, meaning that when you mix the colors, you start with black and end up with white. All right, as more color is added. So if you've seen a LED screen before, you'd notice that they are just all red, blue, and green beams. Once they all turn up, everything shows white. Once you have two alone, it has a different color fill entirely. Okay, so those are just two modes of colors based on what medium you're printing or designing on. If you're designing on screen, then RGB. If it's on a pigment format, then CMYK. All right. We're at 25. This is literally halfway gone. So next week, we're going to finish up the remaining ones, and I'm going to give you the assignment for the weekend. All right. And then we'll go into more details into selecting colors, into typography, and then the actual designing, the proper designing work begins. All right. I hope you're ready for next week. Are you ready for next week?
Yes.
We are ready.
All right, please be ready.
We are ready.
Awesome. Okay, so please try and go over. I'll share this link on the group, or I'll send it as a PDF as well, so you can go over it again. And then I'll send the assignment for the weekend today. And please don't forget, if you have any, based on the ways, the comments that I made on the assignments, if you feel that you need to make corrections, please make those corrections. Okay. Also, don't forget that classes continue on Monday by 9 p.m. All right. Sorry, I started late. That's why I'm finishing late. I apologize for that. All right. So I'm going to upload this class on YouTube in case you want to go over it again. All right. Thank you, everyone. Is there any question before we close? No question. Amazing. All right. Thank you.
No
Everyone.
question from me.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.